Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Acton School Committee, December 10th, 2020, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, are there any adjustments to the agenda tonight?
There are no adjustments. A new agenda was put in front of you at your places at the table, and there will be no need for an executive session this evening.
Okay. Any comments from the public? I would guess maybe no, since I don't see much public tonight. Okay, we should be all set. Okay, our next item, number 3, is school committee nominations for the open seat on the school committee through June 2021. And you will remember that at our November meeting, we accepted Linda's resignation. And the following Monday after that, we advertised. Kim posted it and I put it on Facebook in Acton for people who are interested to contact me. And the deadline was last Friday, December 4th. And tonight, I will look for a motion for the school committee to recommend that C.J. Gardner, I knew that. C.J. Gardner fill that open position through the rest of Linda's term through June.
I'll make a motion to accept C.J. Gardner as our next school committee member.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we appoint C.J. Gardner to fill Linda Cody's vacant seat. All those in favor? Okay, C.J., we'll invite you to come up now and join us and have your packet there in front of you. We just want to remind you that you can't vote yet on anything tonight until Jen Rue has a chance to swear you in officially. So first chance you get, she'll be here all day tomorrow. So if you want to take a run up anytime and let her swear you in, it only takes a minute.
Sure, thank you.
And I know that you probably don't know everybody here personally because you haven't been, so I'm going to ask us starting, you know me, I'm Judy, and we've been corresponding online. Starting with Jeanette, to just kind of go around the table and have everybody tell her who you are and what your responsibilities are here at the school.
Okay. I'm Jeanette Burris. Glad to see you. And I've been on the school committee, I forget, probably 20 years or something, because nobody wants to run. No, honest to God, I wait till the last 5 minutes to pass in the papers, and nobody drives up. So they get stuck with me, so. Anyway, Judy's the chairman and I'm the vice chair.
Mary Stanton, I've had a lot of kids go through this school, and I was involved with the PTG like you heard last meeting. And yeah, so you jump right onto the school committee to help out, you know, when the kids leave the school, so.
Or maybe when they're still here.
Right.
Yep. Amanda Cobb. I did PTG as well. And school board's been, what, 4 or 5 years now, actually? Which, it goes fast. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, right.
My son is a senior this year, so.
Congratulations.
Lori Lodge, you know who I am and what I do.
I'm Kim Oliver, I'm the finance and the personnel director.
And I'm Sharon Prey, you know me as well.
Yep.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Michael Corey, Tech Director.
Say hi, Virginia.
I was going to say,
That's Virginia.
Next to Virginia is
Jennifer Goodman, School Committee Secretary, Library Media Specialist, Student Council Advisor.
You name it.
Patty.
Oh, I'm just audience tonight, but I'll
Yeah.
introduce myself. I'm the Patty Damaris. I'm the math coach this year. Enjoying every minute of it.
Andy Brazier, Facility Director. Been here since 2007. Love working here. It's a great place to work. And welcome to the school committee.
Thank you.
And CJ, I'm so pleased you were here tonight. CJ has two wonderful kids. Quinn, who's in first grade, and Theo, who's coming soon.
Yep.
She and her husband Matthew live here in town, and she's really been a bright light on PTG, so I think she's going to be great for the school committee. Thank you for coming.
Excellent.
Thank you all so much.
Well, welcome. Good. Welcome to our committee. Okay, let's go on to number 4, which is celebration of learning, which will be the student council.
So the student council made a small video for you.
Hello, I would like to introduce to you Dylan Lambert, Addison Long, Kalu Sharon, Georgia Whitman, Nina Flores, Lilith Mishu, Alexis Hayward, Cassidy Kenyon, Sam Dunbar, and Lucy Diskowski. They all make up Student Council for year 2021. This is going to be a challenging year for all of us, but they have already pulled together 6 Thanksgiving baskets that went out last month. Next week, they will be hosting a Spirit Week for those in-house and remote. It should be a fun year with different activities for our students to do.
My name is Dylan Lambert. I'm president of Student Council. I've been on Student Council for 1 year, and I'd like to do May Madness this year. Hi, I'm Addison Long. I am vice president, and I'm in 8th grade. This is my 4th year on council, and I hope we can do a COVID-safe drive-in movie.
My name is Cassidy Kenyon. I've been in Student Council for 2 years, and I'm in grade 6.
Flores. This is my 1st year on Student Council, and I would like to have more dances this year. I've been on Student Council for 2 years. I'm in 7th grade, and I want to do more dances.
This year, as a member of the AES Student Council, I have the intentions to help our school in any way possible to make it better during this pandemic. Acton has been strong through this, and I am willing to represent that. My name is Lilith Misho, and this is my 2nd year of being on Student Council. Though I have not a position, I am a valued participatory member. Being full remote is not going to stop me from helping out my school, which I have attended for 9 years straight. I am going to help out as much as I can to make the lives of our students better. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kalu Sharon, and I've been on Student Council 3 years, and I hope that we can have a dance sometime this year.
I'm Alexis Hayward. This is my 1st year in Student Council. I'm in 8th grade, and I want to have a movie drive-in while staying safe from COVID-19. Thank you. You from Student Council.
Well done, Dad.
Those are my council kids this year. And we look forward to continuing to do activities throughout the school for all grades, all staying safe.
I want to thank Jen for using that master's degree in media because she's able to bring our kids to us without bringing our kids physically to us.
Great.
And
Very good.
I said to Jen, how can we introduce the student council this year? And she came up with this idea immediately, and I was like, that's just right. So thank you so much.
I think we saw more of their personality in the
Yeah.
videos than we do when they stand
I
here and say
know,
hi.
That's so
Oh, that's funny.
true.
Yeah.
And it took us like 45 takes to get.
Oh, yeah. At that age, yes.
Priceless time.
Thank you so much. All right, let's move on to number 5, and I will look for a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Mary and Amanda. Any discussion? All in favor? 4-0. And we'll move right on to number 6 and see if anybody on the board has any questions for any of the administrators regarding their reports.
Just me, for Sharon, how many more need to come full-time that have IEPs and stuff? I thought we had them all, no?
No, well, all of the students with, well, it says in my report that we have, I think, what, 20, sorry, I don't have my report in front of me. How many kids do we have in Acton who have IEPs? It's like 31? 31 maybe?
39 with the high school.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, the ones
let's
that are
see,
coming to
minus
school
8.
here, we
So,
have
yes, 31.
31,
Yeah.
yes. So currently 16 of those 31 are attending full-time, which is
Right.
good.
But some are, like speech therapy, so they,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
so many of them, the ones who are identified with just speech, you know, they may not require to be here, you know, 5
Right.
days a week. So we have gradually increased the number of students based on the need and based on the safety, you know, making sure that we can safely return them,
Right.
both through transportation as well as in the classroom.
So we're taking care of everyone who needs to be
Exactly.
here. Okay.
Exactly.
Are they here if they want to be, like there's nobody at home that wants to come in full-time yet?
Well, I think we do have a couple who'd like to come, who are on IEPs.
Oh, okay.
And we have them on waiting list at this present time because we're not really prepared to bring them back safely in the classrooms yet.
Okay.
But they are in line and we're gradually making it happen. We did beef up their services, and I think I put that in my report that we hired an additional ed tech who is providing beefed up services on the days that they are remote. So if they're a student who attends on blue days, then they get beefed up services from Amy on white days. So that way, you know, we're not like, you know, shrugging off the idea
Yeah.
of bringing, you know, giving them more services. We want to make sure that they're getting what they need based on their IEPs. So
Yeah.
I think bringing in Amy has really been a positive thing for those kids as well. So.
Good.
Any other questions or any of the administrative reports?
I just wanted to say that, I don't know if you folks noticed it on the way in tonight, but the Christmas tree for the school this year was donated again by the Beeler family in memory of Brian Beeler. This has been a tradition that the Beelers have reached out every year, and I just feel privileged to play a small role in continuing that tradition in memory of Brian. And went with the school colors this year, blue and white.
I noticed when I came in, it was very nice, very
We're
nice.
celebrating
Different
Hanukkah,
colors
which
this
is
year.
nice.
Yeah, it
So
looks
Jan
good.
wanted to extend a warm and safe holiday season to all of you, and
Oh, good night.
very nice.
I guess we should ask where the bags came from, the goodie bags.
Oh, yes. Is it, is it my turn?
It's your turn.
We'll start with that, seems
We'll
to Mary,
start-
yeah.
We're coming up now to you anyway, so we'll give you the
Sure.
floor now.
So this is usually the evening where we have Bridget Whitman cater us to a nice,
That's what I
kind of
thought.
home-baked Christmas holiday, and we couldn't really do that this year for obvious reasons. So what's in front of you is from the administrative team thanking you for all the great work you do for us and our kids.
Oh,
So
thank you.
that's what's in front of you for this evening.
Oh,
And-
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
And I also, well, we'll be sending a thank you note to Jan Beeler on behalf of the school and the school committee as well. I do that each year, and I'm very pleased that Andy was able to do that once again this year. It does make a huge difference, and it's nice. So on to a couple things that I have to update you. Judy and I talked a bit, and then I'll just kind of parlay from the 5-day conversation we had a minute ago. And just to remind the board that students that have access to 5 days a week, primarily a 504 IEP and RTI students, because they have needs that are better met in school 5 days a week versus a hybrid schedule. Saying that, I believe we've done a great job of bringing kids back. We brought kindergarten back full-time because they're our youngest learners. That's compulsory age. Pre-K is not compulsory until they're 5, so those are our youngest learners, and my goal is for the 8th graders because they need to be prepared to go on to high school. Now, with that being said, I communicated through an email to the 8th grade parents of Blackboard, kind of put a stay on adding anybody. And that happened from Thanksgiving through 2 weeks after we come back from winter break, which puts you right at about Martin Luther King that Tuesday after. And there's been some trends and some patterns that have happened that I'll update you on now as to what's going on without naming specific people or specific situations. But winter break's coming right up a week from Tuesday, so we're less than 2 weeks away. If you followed anything on the news, you'll see that COVID in Maine has spiked higher than it has at any other time since this has started in Maine. We are still, I can still say we are COVID-free of staff and students in this building. And I think we're one of the only ones, maybe not the only one in York County at this point. But I feel the walls are coming in. It is certainly noticeable in my position what's going on. So to kind of help the community out with this, there have been what I call near misses. That's just my term. That is a person who knows a person who had COVID and they may have been in contact. So they're not a close contact. But my friend was with somebody with COVID and I'm with my friend, so what does that make me? That makes me somebody I'm concerned about. So I say, why don't you stay home until we know how your friend is doing? And then if your friend is negative, then you're certainly good to come to work. So we've been able to use what the CDC has called an abundance of caution. And those are all decisions we've made at the school. They're not CDC regulations. It's let's just play it safe. Then there's the, hey, I was at dinner with somebody who had COVID, which makes you a close contact. That puts you in a position where you are a close contact. There are some guidelines around that, which is you need to stay away from school until you are dubbed the clear of having COVID, okay? We've had both of those situations here with employees and staff, none of which has affected the school, or none of which the employees or staff or kids, as far as I know, have had actual COVID that have come to the building. But I'm on my 12th near miss as of today. So if you pay attention and you see what's going on, and it's hard for any one person, unless if you're like Lori and I who get around everywhere, to notice who might be missing for a few days. And that's it. That's one of those situations where I need you to be clear to come back. And there was really nothing wrong with the person, but through an abundance of caution, I'm making the decision to have somebody stay out because I can cover the job. Today, 6 of us covered some jobs to make the school stay open. It was noticeable. Tomorrow it'll be different. It won't be the same situation. At night, if somebody's missing from the custodial staff, it's not noticeable. I know it, some people know it, but the person who's in and out of the building, they don't know. So I'm on number 12 or 13 of moving the shells around. So every night when I go home, I usually get a text or a call that says, I have this, what do I do? And then tonight I'll have an issue tomorrow I have to solve. If we can just get through Christmas, we have done a heck of a job in this building with, hey, I need you to do this. Hey, can you help me out? How about you do this? Dress for this tomorrow. And everybody has done excellent without saying who's out and why. People just get it. They go, yup, this is like the 13th time you've asked me. I understand, I got it. And our staff has really stepped it up to the plate. We've done an excellent job. But the staff know, they look around and they might notice, but other staff might not notice because the two ends of the building are very different. If you're teaching kindergarten, you may not know what's happening up at the middle school day to day, and just even though it's a small school, you don't know. So we have managed to keep the place open, but we haven't had anybody with COVID, so that's good. If we do, this is what happens, folks. And we're ready for it, because I think it's just a matter of time. So the first layer is, if COVID comes to the school by way of positive child or positive staff member, and that's any staff member in the building, a letter goes out to parents and guardians, not to the community, but to our community, that's parents and guardians, that basically says, an associate of the Acton Elementary School has tested positive for COVID-19. That's about all it says. An associate of. You don't know if it's a staff or a student. That's what it says. And basically, that's just to let you know. Now, if you're a close contact of that associate, I'm going to play it out. Say it's in a particular part of the building, in a particular classroom. We have to then we have to use a rubric and figure out, Carol and I, we're the only two that kind of do this. We figure it out and then we work with people that might be close to the situation and we make decisions. Okay, this happened in this part of the building with this person. We need to consider this circle of people around this, probably close contacts, and we're going to now send a second letter to that group that says, your child may have been in contact with an associate of Acton Elementary School who has tested positive for COVID-19. So now we're talking maybe, let's just throw a number out of 20 people. So now 20 people get a little more intense letter that says, hey, not only that, your child should stay out of school for 10 days. We recommend you get a COVID test. But everybody else doesn't get that second letter because we're not considering them a close contact of our situation that's in the school. We could also have a situation where it's an employee and it happens to be on a weekend or something, or it's a Friday, and by Monday I'm clear, and all I'm saying is we've had an associate of Acton Elementary School who's tested positive. Nobody gets a close contact letter because this person hasn't been in the building for some reason. And it's really interesting timing that Carol and I have to sit down and look at on how we're going to actually move the chess pieces. It's like a chess game, and what we're going to say. So then there's a third letter, and the third letter sounds like this. So you get your general, it's happened in the school, then it's called the outbreak letter. At Acton Elementary School, we have had 3 or more associates of the Acton Elementary School who have tested positive within 14 days. that's considered an outbreak. When and if that happens, we're probably looking at shutting down school for a while. If it happens the day before a school break, probably not. If it happens the day we come back from a school break, probably. That's outbreak. It'll be interesting to see what happens here, because most schools where they have one, they end up with way more than one. It becomes something like 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, and then they're into closing the school. Sometimes they can mitigate the risk because one kid was here, it was, say, a blue day on a Wednesday, they're not coming back till Monday, they were able to kind of fix it, and it didn't affect anybody really, other than the kids in that blue class that were with that person on a Wednesday. And therefore, it's very little impact on your school. So as I've said to everybody who asks me, what if this happens, Mr. Ross, I say, I need to know the situation. Every situation will be different in how we respond, because there could be so many different menu choices on this thing called COVID. So that's kind of how that plays out. And then lastly, on this one piece for an update, because we're not going to meet again until January, I'll be updating the staff on Tuesday at the cohort leader meetings that Kim has purchased us, at my request, a cell phone that has a number. I don't even know what the number is, but it's on the cell phone. I will be publishing that cell phone number and my email, and probably Carol's email, in a letter to parents and guardians that goes out very close to the time we break for break. And there'll be one that just will be happy holidays. Then there'll be a follow-up, happy holidays and here's my hope. If parents in the community see signs and symptoms of COVID in their children or their family, they notify me, especially if they're going to go get a test. If staff see signs of COVID in their family and friends who they're with over this break, that they notify me so that I know. Because if I know that I have 4 or 5 staff and 5 or 6 families that are getting tests and this and that, because Christmas Eve lands on a Thursday, Christmas Day is on a Friday, we do a whole week, then there's New Year's Eve, which isn't huge for kids. They're probably not gathering much. But it's now been 7 days since they gathered for Christmas and Christmas Eve. That Monday's a hot date if something's going to happen. And I saw this, the reason I'm on my 13th issue is coming out of Thanksgiving. That's why I'm where I am right now. If I know I have a situation and I have a phone number you can call into, I can gather the data before we open and make a decision, if I have to go remote for the week before we come back. My worst situation is on Sunday night, people call me and say, gee, I had a COVID test on Thursday, and I'd say, I wish I knew that Thursday. I can't be making this call on Sunday night so that you know, CJ, your kid's not coming on Monday. I need to let CJ and her family know, with as much notice as I can, we're not opening on Monday, we're going to open a week from. I'm not saying it's going to happen. What I'm saying is I have a plan if we have to. And that's why we have the cell phone and the emails, and that will all be communicated, because there's a very real chance that can happen. To not have a plan for that would be foolish. So we have a plan in place, and we can implement the plan if we need it. And if I don't get a lot of information over the break, I'm going to assume everybody's healthy, and we're going to be back on the 4th of January. So that's the plan, that's what will be communicated. You'll get your copy, as I always give you that heads up copy that goes out to the community, and you'll see how it is that I'm that information. So that's kind of a big thing. So you guys have any questions on that?
No, we knew you would prepare.
Well, we're going to do the best we can.
Yeah, and it's all you can do. There's so much unknown, that's really all you can do, is to prepare for each of those scenarios. And it obviously sounds like you've put a lot of planning into it, and you've got a good system down, and we are very fortunate. I mean, we've been, the staff and administration and the facility people have just done such a great job of following all the rules and keeping everybody safe. And it isn't just luck that I don't think it's just luck that we're doing so well. I think it's that the planning that went into it, and the operation of that planning from day to day is keeping us safe. We can't control what happens outside the building, for sure. I mean, that's where the problems come. But I think the staff really should be commended for the excellent job they've been doing, and for caring so much about keeping the kids in school and keeping them safe. And
everybody's been following the rules. It goes to show that as much as we groaned in July and August planning for this, about masks and sanitizer, I think it's showing it works. At least it's worked for us. And even if we get a case, it's still working. What we're doing is we're mitigating the risk by doing what we do with kids. And I gotta give the kids a ton of credit. We've had no issues. We've had like no issues. Sometimes you gotta remind kids to hit the thing on the way in. That's what, Lori does it every morning. And sometimes I'm on the radio, so-and-so forgot a mask because I'm out front. That's why we have it set up the way we have it set up, so that you enter safely. And we've had like, seriously, 0 issues with kids. And here we were thinking, we had a whole day meeting on what are we gonna do for consequences for not wearing your mask. We spent a day on that. And it's like, so far so good. Really haven't had any issues, so.
And I bet you were happy the snow fell Saturday night.
I talked to Andy on that one, right?
You didn't have to get one of those phone calls.
Yeah. That I'll give you a report on when we get to the remote meals. We've got a plan. We've got a plan for that too, Mary. Yeah.
Got a plan.
And it sounds like another one coming Saturday and Sunday, I hear.
Is that right?
Long range,
Probably rain, icy rain.
that's it, icy rain.
So the next piece, definitely, I'm all set with my piece.
You're all set with your
Yeah,
notes?
I think the next piece will be much more uplifting than hearing about what you're planning.
Oh,
Yes.
So we're gonna move on to Jolly Phonics?
Yes, please.
Yay, Jolly Fun.
You're just gonna laugh saying it, don't you?
Well, I do because they're so much fun. It's like 2 hours of fun every morning, just to go to K to 2 and watch Jolly Fun. So this year, as you know, or maybe you don't know, we decided to implement the Jolly Phonics program. You'll see that, well, if you have the opportunity at some point to come in and observe, it's from anywhere from 8:30 to 10:30 in the K2 classrooms. And right now, they all look very similar because all teachers at those levels agreed to start from the very beginning. Even though second graders had a lot of letters and sounds and all of that stuff, they all agreed to start and do the program with fidelity. So what we've seen so far is that first grade and second grade are moving much quicker than kindergarten. Kindergarten is really taking their time with implementation, but they're all doing very simple day-to-day, and I'll show you all of the components. So the big ideas for the program is that we start with letter sounds, not really focus so much on letter naming, but on the sounds that the letters are making, because that can quickly translate into them blending those sounds for reading and for when they're doing their writing. So the letter naming piece is integrated and they're working on that, but really focusing on the sounds of the letters. And that there's a letter formation component that you'll see, the kindergartners will demonstrate. The spelling piece of that comes from them being able to blend those sounds, and you'll see some dictation happening in second grade. And then what we call the tricky words, those words that don't follow any particular pattern. Those are some of our sight words that we're working on, and every classroom has those tricky words up so kids can use them in their writing. Every day, second grade introduced a new sound a day, so they moved very quickly through all the sounds, as well as first grade. Kindergarten is only doing a couple of sounds a week. When they introduce a sound, it comes with a story, it comes with a song, they do a little action to go with it, and then they practice the letter formation. So we're going to see all of those components in just a minute. Every day when they do introduce a new sound, they go back and they're reviewing all the sounds that they've had from previous lessons. So there's a lot of repetition and consistency. They're practicing letter formation. There's a screen that comes up that has a lot of question marks. The kids will hear a sound and they'll have to write down or guess what that mystery sound is. They're independently, they each have a student handbook or workbook that they're working in. And that they've used what they know so far to sound out words when they're writing. And I was observing some writing today in kindergarten, and they were doing opinion writing where they had to choose a side and they would write because. And the teachers were really encouraging them to sound their words out. And it already is amazing what some of the kids are writing. So it seems to be working for them. This is the word wall of tricky words. So there's many layers to that. I think we'll be expecting second graders to have all of these, obviously, by the end of the year. First grade has some of them, and then kindergarten has the first couple of sets, the blue and the yellow, that they're working on. So we'll go through that. This is just a sample of the dictation. So, and this is second grade. These are same dictation, 2 different students. The first sentence, Mr. D dictated to them. So he doesn't help them with any spelling. It's just straight dictation. And then he asks them to write another sentence or 2 about other things that they're noticing in the picture. So the first sentence, the ducks on the pond are quacking. That's the same in every student book, and then they get to add. So the first one says there is a duckling and a fish. And then the second writing, there is a little duck in the pond with her mom and dad, and there is a fisherman, the end. So they already, they take, they expand upon the picture and on the dictation. This was just another one, the queen has a red cloak. And then they go on to elaborate more about the picture. So they're making those connections to writing based on the sounds that they're learning. I already have this open for you. So let's see. Hopefully. Oh, Sally, that's my LL Films.
So friends, we're going to listen to our story.
Zara is sitting outside on the grass one Sunday morning. She's playing with Zebedee, her toy zebra. She hears a loud zzzz sound. She looks around and sees a big bee buzzing around the flowers. It is collecting pollen to be made into honey back at the hive. She watches the bee as it buzzes from flower to flower, landing on each one and collecting the pollen. Zara stands up and runs around, saying, Zzz. She stops by a gazebo, bends down, and pretends to collect the pollen from the flower. Then, Zzz. She buzzes, and off she goes to the next flower.
Okay, we're ready to sing our song?
Oh, and people.
Did you ever hear a bee buzz, a bee buzz, a bee buzz? Did you ever hear a bee buzz? Like this.
That's good.
Awesome. All right, fingers in the air. This is how we write a Z. So let's go ahead and write a Z. Ready?
The same color as your pencil.
Awesome. All right, I'm looking for quiet friends that can help me write the Z sound. Oh, so hard to pick because you all are sitting so nice and quietly. Marie, can you start us off this morning?
Yep.
Awesome job. I like how you went back and fixed that top. Okay, quiet friend. Thank you.
I'm going from the desk.
Reagan, Tyler, Roxy.
Everyone's gone.
Okay. Reagan, Tyler, Roxy. You ready? 3, 2, 1, hit.
Yeah,
Oh. Yeah. Oh, how about we get that stool over here for you? Got it? I bet at the end of the year you're going to be able to reach that, Charlie. Be so tall. And tell me the letter name. Tell me the letter name of these letters, and we'll do the sounds at the end. What are these letter names, Wesley?
O-N.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh,
Good.
he looks like mine.
What letter is this? Good. Mackenzie, what letters are these?
I.
Good. Megan, what letter is this? Good. Logan, what letter is this? Good. Maddox, can you unmute yourself and tell Miss Carl what letter this is? What letter is this? Good job.
And now I want you to take a seat just for a moment, because we're going to get into that new alternative sound that we are learning today. Is that tricky Y. Man, you've already told me that Y sometimes says yup, sometimes it says E. Now we're learning it as I, a nice long I sound. So for this first word that we have, drying. That Y says I. All right, I'm gonna get you guys back up. We're gonna do some more sounding. Yeah, I'm gonna keep you moving. All right. I'm waiting for a flight up. This is a tricky word. It's over there on our tricky word wall. But it is, back over here guys, back over here. But it's not so tricky now because we know Y says I. So now we can sound it out. I, my. So does that word, I mean, thumbs up, does that word make more sense sounding out now? Yeah. We have that new rule, so it should. Next word. I, sky. Thank you, friends at home. Looking good. And our last one, do it on your own silently. And then let's have a friend demonstrate for the rest of the class, because you guys rock it. Andre, you want to give it a try? Nice job. Now all together. Oh, I-ing, flying. So good. We're going to our whiteboards next. We're going to do a little bit of dictation. Different way from the way that I says walk. So, here's your first word. Sky. And oh, we don't see. Alright. Cup. They chose K as that cup sound. And then that I sound. I is Y. Usually at the end of that word, right? Alright, go ahead and erase your next word. Let's do time. We're running out of time. Time. I see Bryn sitting quietly with her fourth lip. Thank you, Bryn. I see Cam working quietly. Thank you, Cam. Remember, great. Friends at home, working. All right, go ahead and let's level.
There you go. what they are working on in K-2 for Jolly Phonics. There are 3 books that they'll get through this year, 3 student books. So they'll keep going with all the sounds, and then they'll get into vowel teams and all of that. And one thing we did do, 3, 4, 5 was struggling with finding spelling lists with spelling patterns and things, and Jolly Phonics has a Jolly Grammar component, so we purchased the materials for Jolly Grammar at 3, 4, 5, so they can expand upon that moving up through.
That's good.
It'll start to look a little more consistent for the kiddos. Now,
Was there a sign language at all? Like when they're doing stuff?
No, they just make a motion to remind them of what the sounds are as they're going through. So if a student's struggling with a letter or something, a teacher will often just make the motion with them, and it will trigger what that letter looks like, what it sounds like. So, yeah.
It's very funny to watch them.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's pretty cool though, because it uses multiple senses to get it into their brains.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
You were right, John, that was more fun than yours.
Thank
That
you
was
to
great.
Lori for
Thank
pulling
you,
that
Lori, so
together.
much. Yeah, it's great to see this program in action, and it looks like
The kids are having a good time.
looks like an awesome program.
Yeah.
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 Now, on the whiteboard, there were the Zoom kids or whatever?
Yep.
The remote?
Mm-hmm. Yep, they've got their whiteboards at home. Sometimes they're just using a piece of paper, but they're doing the same things. Yep.
Any other questions for Lori? That was fantastic. Thank you. All right, committee reports. Long Range Planning Committee.
Did not meet.
Okay, so we'll move on to the Policy Committee.
Well, we met for a short time this morning, and we have 5 policies under review. Some that were accepted but never actually accepted and approved, so we gotta work on those. And the other thing, we were thinking about changing the date and the time, and nobody remembers why we had that date and time to begin with. But to try out the first Monday of the month at 1 o'clock. Whoever is left to be on the committee. Looks like perhaps
CJ?
because we don't want to disrupt the other committee people that are on or whatever, but you can do what you want. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, I would recommend that. So, first of all, welcome CJ, who has no voting power tonight. He's just 1 o'clock every month. No, just kidding. What we can do, I think, at the end of the meeting after we adjourn is let's talk about your
Check it out,
schedule.
right, yeah.
Jeanette's pretty free. We have Zoom. We can make this work.
Yeah.
I'm sure we
That
can.
was
That's just a
just-
three-way conversation. we
Right,
can
it
have.
was just a suggestion to make it
Right.
easier for Kim
Right.
to John to be at that meeting. So that's all that came up. It was
And
just
Linda was on the Policy Committee.
Right. So, I mean, that was just a suggestion to make it easier for the administration, that's all I think. I like to do things before noon. Because by 5 in the afternoon, I'm in my nightgown. So I
He's
don't
here
want
today.
But I managed to make it on evenings that we have to go out. But I'd rather do it in the morning if we could, but 1 o'clock's okay.
Okay, thank you. We'll talk, the three of us will stay behind for just 5 minutes and get on the same page.
Okay, all right. And that's it under that, because some of these are, way behind,
So,
But
do you want to just read off the numbers? Or are we voting on these?
No, we're not.
There's nothing she brought tonight.
No, they're just,
Okay.
they're from way
So
back.
we never adopted them. That's what you're saying?
Oh, no,
Yeah,
there's
a couple
one that
that were never
isn't,
done.
never did, but the others all are from 91, 2001. I mean, every time we catch up, or we think we do,
We fall further behind.
well, because they keep coming up with all these new things. So we just,
We're still using our decade revolving list. So we have the update after a decade, and then we have the new that came down from Maine School Management because the legislature got together and created new laws, and now we need new policies to work those new laws through.
so that's that story.
All right. All right, let's move on then to number 9, new business, transitions.
That one will be mine. This is actually a good transition from policy, because we have a policy, IK, which is the PBL policy, and within that, number 3, transition, so it's a subset. The policy IK is about 6 pages long, so it's just this small piece of it that I'd like the board to take some action on tonight. That there is language that says that the school shall implement a culminating capstone or exhibition experience necessary for transitioning from Acton Elementary School to high school. So the transition projects, if you remember, a couple of years ago, we all brushed our teeth in here. Remember that? That was the toothpaste the kids put together, and we
What was
brushed our
that,
teeth.
2nd to 3rd grade or something?
That was 2nd to 3rd
Yeah.
grade. And then we had a gallery walk the year after with the 5th to 6th grade with their history projects. And then they also did something in their rooms when they tied in I believe, a visit to the main Gulf Aquarium to their curriculum. And then at the 8th grade, we've had a series of things, because the 8th grade is their capstone project that they would be starting like right about now. It's kind of a thesis, so that they're done and they're doing this in late May. What I'm asking is, with our hybrid schedule and with remote learners and the craziness of the schedule, I'm asking the board vote for a 1-year waiver on doing this, just for this year. I don't want to change anything in the policy. I don't want to change a thing, other than the motion would be to waive transitions 3 and read that. And what that does is that allows me to go back to the teams, the cohort leaders on Tuesday, and say, you don't have to do this. Because it's policy, I can't just give them permission not to do it. Policy's policy, so only you can make that decision to help me help them. So I bring that to you tonight, because otherwise they'd be working on this pretty soon. Before our next time we would meet, at least the capstone people would be pulling together some ideas. And we met as a team and thought, this is not a good year to try to pull that off, because it would be kids that are home are at a grave disadvantage versus the kids that are here 2 and 3 days a week, and then there's the kids that are here 5 days a week. It'd be very hard to team the kids to get anything done that's reasonable with our new schedule. We'll revisit it next year. We'll be back on a regular schedule next year.
Okay, so then I would look for a motion to allow
To have a waiver?
for a waiver for the capstone project for this year only, due to COVID, for the 8th graders.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Amanda.
Can we have a little discussion?
Sure.
Because I know I would do a capstone if I was in 8th grade, whether people told me to do it or not. There might be some children like that, to give them an opportunity, the real go-getters, if they would like to do it.
And I can think of a couple in that class, and a couple you saw tonight on student council, that are probably just those kinds of kids.
Right, so I mean,
They were
if you
always
could offer it up to some.
they were always done in pairs.
Could they work?
Not always, some not. It depends on what the theme is for the year.
Could this be something that GT could work with?
Possibly.
If there are kids that want to do it.
Gifted and talented?
Gifted and talented.
Yeah.
Maybe the gifted and talented.
I don't know, just.
If
So to
it's-
make it, I think what I'm hearing is a theme, so make it optional. Don't take it off the table, but don't make it
Yeah.
mandatory. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, how about that?
That's
It
fine.
can't hurt.
I would also recommend that in the motion that you amend this language too. You mentioned capstone, but mention transition projects too, because that's 2nd and 5th. They're transition projects, and 8th grade is capstone. So I'm looking to not do any of those for this year.
Want to amend your motion, Mary?
All right, so we'll redo the motion. How about
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
To have a waiver for the transition number 3 from policy IK, the PBL policy, to have that waiver for this year, 1 year. But I'd like to add, an optional, I don't know, to let children have the option to do it if they would like to, in whatever grade. I don't know if you just, I felt like the capstone part, though, would be a good thing for an 8th grader. I don't know about the younger grades, but. So I would just like to add for the 8th graders especially, to make it optional.
I'll second that. I mean, if they want to do it, it can't hurt anything.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? on that?
If you have kids that do them, that would like to present them by video or something.
Yes.
I'll
You know.
take it to the team. I'll take this result to the team on Tuesday.
Okay.
I'll take it to all teams, because it sounds like any of the grades could.
Well, yeah.
2, 5, or
Yeah.
particularly the capstone is what I'm hearing from you, but it'll come up at the team meetings next week.
Can I just read that motion back so that I know that I have it correctly, please? Motion by Mary for a waiver of the capstone and transition projects for this year, only because of COVID, but to offer an option to do a capstone project if the individual student wishes to do one. Motion seconded by Amanda.
Yeah, pretty much. Did you mention transition number 3 from policy IK?
Thank you.
And you can recover that from the agenda, because it's right on there, if you need the specific
I need
language.
it in the agenda. I
Yeah,
have
I'll
it.
get it to you.
Just
Okay.
put that in the beginning.
Okay.
Yes.
We all done with 9-1? All those in favor?
Great.
Okay, we'll move on now to remote meals for inclement weather days.
So
You're on
I've
again.
worked with Holly, you've been following this whole idea of remote, a remote day instead of a snow day, since it kind of came into my head back in September. So we're ready we only have one more step. So basically, everybody's been informed. We did a survey of parents, and 85% said, we'd be happy to try the first 2 snow days as a remote day, and then anything after that's a regular snow day, cancel school. The teachers are ready to send to parents what that remote schedule will look like. It'll begin at 9 and end at 2. It'll be different maybe for each grade, and the middle school's gonna pick it up at 9 o'clock as wherever they are at 9 o'clock, just like if it was a delay. You come in, you do the pledge, you start whatever time you get here on a delay, and you end at 2, and that's how the middle school's doing it. The lower classes are all gonna have their own schedules. So they're working on those now. The last thing I need to do is next week, I'm going to have parent pickup, so parents can, and it's already out there till I think Thursday, till today, to let us know if you want 2 remote meals. By rule, it's not by law, but by rule with the FDA, USDA, they have food, right? I signed a contract that says, we're gonna feed kids if we're gonna have a school day. So there's no state law on this. A lot of people think there's a state law. You have to feed kids if you have school. It has nothing to do with state law. It has to do with what you signed for a contract for your Title I food and school nutrition. So we've agreed we're gonna feed kids if we have school. So we have to allow an option for people to have school food for the days they're not here. So we have 2 days worth of what we call shelf storage, shelf-ready packets that are already put together. And on Tuesday of next week and Thursday of next week, so that would be a blue day and a white day, everybody who drops off in the morning that has signed up will be notified that they're to pull up by pre-K on their way out, and I'll have a table, and I'll put in whatever in their car, whatever it is they need for their family. They have 4 students, it'll be 4 times 2. If they have 1 student, it's 2, and off they go. That takes care of the people who drop off. Then we have students on buses, and we have students that are home that don't drop off or take a bus. For those people, what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask them what is a convenient time on Friday the 18th for us to use the vans, the cooks, and the bus drivers to get these that they've signed up for to their homes. Because they're not coming to school. The kids are coming on a bus. We're not gonna make little kids carry these things home. We'll deliver to those that aren't coming to the school anyway. But if you're coming and you're dropping off, it's easy just to pull over and I put something in the back of your car. And then after the 18th, once we've deployed our meals, if we get a snow day, we're good. The first 2. I gotta work with the news companies to see if they're gonna have a third option, which is delay, closed, or remote. Remote's the new one. And I'll say, what do you wanna do? Because they'll probably, if they don't get around to it, it'll say on channel 6, closed, but your Blackboard message will be, today is a remote day, the building is closed. And then after we've done 2 of those, and we'll probably have a few more snow days, typically. Those will be regular snow days. Just trying to practice something for the future.
No, but I mean, like, we lost power Sunday,
Yeah.
so that would just be school closed, you know what I mean?
It would be, and I asked, because when I close school, make the decision with Andy at 4:30 in the morning, that's happening, we're talking 4:15, I'm watching all the other superintendents, and by 5, I got a high school bus that needs to, this guy gotta get here, he needs to know. So I'm like, okay, Sanford's doing this, we're doing this by 5. So the reality is people will know by then. I asked on days that I do that, what's it like down here? I said, is it like it was the other day where everybody lost power? And they're like, no, that was an anomaly. Days where you call school for 4 to 5 inches of snow and sleet, we're not losing power in 75% of the town, because if that happens, remote day's not gonna work.
Right.
So it doesn't mean every time we close school, we lose power. But if we did close school and we did lose power, then it would be one of those, we'll make a decision after the fact. It's another one of those, let's see what happens. You know?
Yeah.
We'll see if we count the day or not. Yep.
Okay, all set on the remote meal thing? So let's move on to number 9.3, which is the budget timeline. Is that you, Kim?
Yep. So basically, I've done all the budget actuals for all the teachers, and most of them have them in their budget. They're either I've talked with them or they're actually in their mailboxes. So that tells them, this is what your budget was this year, this is what you spent so far, this is what you have left. It also kind of gives them an idea of what they are buying, so that helps them when they start processing their budget to start putting it together for next year, which will start in January, and we're all gonna hope that we're gonna be budgeting for like a more normal school year next year. I hope that's a plan.
You have to.
They will, and then in January, that's when John and I especially will start going through each one, and then I'll work with each of the admins with their particular sections as well, to see, you know, we're gonna have to try to kind of guesstimate our number of students. That's gonna be another, you know, that's gonna be a big question. Do we plan on, you know, full school, full amount, you know, which is really, I think, the way we wanna go, is to kind of basically plan for a normal school year. So, and that would mean bringing back a lot more kids in the school that we have now. But I also think at the same time, the things that we have learned going through this, there's certain keys or certain pieces that we probably want to still also keep in our budget in next year. So there's, you know, not everything is going to be all tossed out. You know, we'll keep some of the things that we've learned. And then, you know, February, we'll have our schedule with all our budget meetings. So we usually have like 4 or 5 budget meetings. We'll schedule them out. We usually have one extra, just in case something we have to go back to or something like that. We try to get everything ready as best we can to get a school vote before April vacation. So that would be, and when we start in January, you'll have it all written out. We'll have all our scheduled dates, because we have to work with the town to figure out what day is going to work best, you know, because if we have it here at school, they come here, they set up, they do, everything for the town vote. So there's a process that we do with that as well. So, but we have to go from the time that Jen says, okay, we'll have it on this night, and then we work backwards. And so that we get right down to, okay, this is our start date, this is when we have to have our full budget pretty much ready. And so there's a lot of, you know, there'll be some meetings with all the cohorts. We'll get all the groups all together and look at, you know, how we're going to do our budget, what's the best way to do our budget from this point on, and look at maybe some changes, you know, coming up with our next budget season. So
And we'll be working with the Warrant Finance Committee as well.
yes, when we have our budget meetings in February, it's usually a group. We invite them to come in. We've had some years where they're full active and they're here and they really, you know, participate, and then we've had other times where maybe they show up. It just depends on the group itself. But hopefully, you know, they'll be a lot more active into it, and last year was tough. Everything we did was remote and it was different. So I'm hoping we don't do that again.
Are the town subcommittees, warrant and finance and planning, are they meeting live like we are in the town hall like this with masks?
Yes.
So they moved to a live forum that's an open meeting and people can come?
Yes.
Because we're at 50 people capacity. The governor moved it from 100 back to 50.
Right.
I can't imagine we're going to get 50 people at a budget meeting in this room. So I think we can plan on having these live in this room. Would you agree? For now, we'll see what time gives us through January and February, but we have to make it an open meeting, and we have to have 6 feet, and we have to have a space that can allow for up to 50. if we had to, we could have these meetings on the gym floor and we could do it in there, and that would allow for 6 feet and easily 50 people if there was a reason 50 people wanted to show. So I think we can pull this off. I just wanted to mention, we shouldn't have to do this by Zoom this year.
No.
I think it's way better if we're in person.
Right.
Yeah.
We barely have 50 people at the town meeting for the school budget. So I think we can, how many people on the warrant and finance? 8, 7, 6?
That's a lot.
There's a whole,
There's 7, I think, and an alternate.
an alternate.
Yeah.
And usually 1 or 2 show up, sometimes 3.
So, yeah, I
Then
don't
they
see why we
report to
couldn't
their
have our
own group.
budget meetings right here,
Okay.
you know.
We'll plan on it
We
then.
could always move if we had to, but I think it would be very unlikely we would get more than 15 or 20 people here at a time, or even with all, you know, including our own group.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll plan on that as we have in the past and work backwards and the process. And as far as when we meet, CJ, it's generally this time of night. It's, we might meet an hour before school committee and do some work and then go right into school committee, or it might be an odd Thursday that we're not meeting that we'll do this. And again, not knowing your schedule, it can be a Zoom in. We've had several school board members use Zoom and you just kind of right here with us. That's how it's worked. So if you're available but can't physically come in, that's usually not a barrier. Okay.
I'm guessing that, that we won't have any really solid dates,
Not yet.
especially from the town, because we have to wait and see what by April, what the number of people allowed in the building is going to be, whether we're going to be allowed to have a town meeting in the building at that time. I mean,
we could just
Pick the date.
we can plan it, we can go ahead and plan it. And,
Yeah. I mean, and then
Make
if we have to
adjustments.
change it, we'll change it, but I mean, I'd rather just start planning for it and.
Absolutely.
and
Yeah, go ahead
We are going to
and-
move forward
right.
in this direction, and then,
And make the dates and.
yeah, if the worst things happen and it changes, well, then we'll change accordingly, but.
We changed last year. I mean, we did everything without even being together last year and still got a budget passed overwhelmingly in July.
I know, can you
They
imagine?
moved it out to July, no, July 14th. Yeah.
Over 400 people showed
I
up.
know, on a hot day, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that won't have to happen this year. All right, anything else to come before us tonight?
I want to thank Kim for pulling together these Christmas bags for you guys. She spearheaded that on behalf of the administrators. And I should say that earlier.
Thank you, Kim.
And CJ, why I asked you.
You figure what's in it, see?
Oh, okay, because I asked CJ if she had a dog or a cat, and she looked at me and goes, yeah, why? And I'm like, no reason, and she drove off. And that's because of what's in there tonight.
Is there a clean mask in here?
Yes.
I knew it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. That's very thoughtful. Very much appreciated. I also heard from Linda, and she said that she had a card that she thought she had mailed to us, and she found it in her husband's truck. So she said, that she had mailed it to me, and how much she appreciated our card that we sent her as a board, and also how much she would miss being with us on the board. So she's very, very busy at her new job, which I believe they're doing COVID testing stuff at the lab where she works. So I'm sure they're very busy. All right then, if there's nothing else, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 6:06.
Second.
Second by Amanda. All those in favor? All right, so be it.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Amen.
Good night.